Hey, Brett Messmer here with Technical Taekwondo. Today we're going to be talking about one-step sparring. One-step sparring is overlooked by a lot of schools. If you're looking at it from a self-defense point of view, it's not realistic. Okay? That's not the purpose of one-steps. Purpose of one-steps is to take your fundamental blocks and strikes and teach the application of the techniques. How your body moves when you're doing the different strikes. It's just another drill. The key op signifies that they are ready to attack. We have the attacking student step straight in, delivering a face punch, where now the other student has to deal with that attack. Doing it this way teaches the students how they need to move in reaction to an attack. So when that punch comes in at you, it teaches you how to move, how to block, how to evade, all these different elements coming at a face punch, which is the most common attack that's going to be faced on the street. Now, how the student delivers the attack is one of the things that step teaches. Okay? So if a student just kind of steps back lazy, they're going to step in and kind of punch lazy. What we let our students know is when you're attacking, you have one job to do. Okay? Your job is to attack with a legitimate punch. And the more real, more power, more force you can put into that attack, the more prepared your partner will be against a real punch. This is a stepping stone towards doing this live with, whether boxing drills or punching drills, whatever you're doing in your class. But one thing one step teaches you that free sparring and different boxing drills don't is the discipline and the focus that one step requires. So you kind of think of a one steps as a miniature form with a partner. Practicing one steps really focuses on building discipline, because you have to be very disciplined when you're working with a partner, because if you're on a test or you're practicing as part of a demonstration, you don't want your partner to look stupid. If you're doing a half-butt job on your attack, that's going to make your partner look bad. So you want to have the discipline to make sure everything is correct. Okay? If you can have everything perfect on your blocks, on your stances, on your kicks, on your punches, when you're doing one steps, well, when you go to free sparring, if you're 80% technically correct, you have 80% power. However, if you learned your technique and you're only doing 70-80% when you're practicing, when you're doing it for real, you're going to lose another 15-20% because of the stresses of fighting. So by practicing one steps, you really help improve your discipline of the students as well as the quality of the individual technique. We have actually taken one steps out of our curriculum because we had some financial people tell us that they're a waste of time and nobody does them right anyway. So we dropped them for a year. We noticed a pattern coming through after that year where our green belts that were coming up without ever doing one steps, they were terrible. The quality of their kicks, the quality of their stances, the quality of their blocks was visibly well below what our old green belts would do. And we kind of stood back and go, did we make any other changes or was this it? No, the only thing we changed is we dropped the one steps. We immediately added our one steps back in and brought the quality of all of the students back up. We lost some students in that period, but it was worth it because the quality came back up. And our students were more disciplined, had better control, and better technique. Having one steps in your curriculum is more important than just for purposes of self-defense. Okay? There are so many more reasons that one steps will help your students, even if they're not doing them 100% correct. It allows students to build other attributes that are essential to the martial arts. So I highly recommend you guys train your one steps, and there's different drills that you can do, but having drills like these one steps in your curriculum is essential to building that self-defense, building that control, and improving the individual fundamental movements by teaching the students how these movements are applied. What does this do? Oh, okay. And the way our curriculum is designed is we are teaching the fundamental movements for the student's next form. For the one steps, we're teaching them the application of those new fundamental movements in their one steps at the same time they're learning those blocks. So they're learning the new blocks and they're learning the application of those blocks. And then after they test, then they learn the form that those new blocks are in. That's just how our system is designed. But it's important when you're teaching someone a new block or strike that you teach them what it does. Okay? This is how it's done, great. Now what do I do with it? Well, this is how it applies. This is how it works. So it gives them a better understanding of what they're doing. Takeout number 3, we have the new outer knife hand out of back stance, and then they shift and do reverse punch. That's one of their new fundamental movements. One of the one steps for our orange belts is they step, outer knife hand block, they block the punch, and they pull back and punch. And then we have them do a backside kick afterwards. That's so that way they understand how that knife hand works. Okay? They understand what this motion is doing. And then they shift in. Well, in Taeguk Samjan, why are they shifting in? Well, I'm in perfect range for that reverse punch. If I block the hand with the punch, I shift in. Okay. Well, now when I'm a purple belt and I learn that new form, oh, I remember this. I did that in my one step. It makes sense. They make that connection. You don't have to design your system that way. That is just one thing that we have done that really helps our students make that connection between any new blocks that they're learning, any new strikes that they're working on, and they tie that to how they work. And we do that through one-step sparring drills. One-steps are also very useful for teaching other skills. If the punch comes in, I can sidestep and, work hands, work feet, whatever I'm doing. It's the same footwork as if a kick came in and I sidestepped and I countered. So I can use the one steps to work in sparring drills. So I can teach the perfect footwork in a controlled one step. And that way when they go to sparring, they're like, okay, it's the same thing. It's just taking from a formal to an informal. So that's another thing that one steps are very useful to teach. I can teach the footwork, in a controlled manner where it's very easy for students to understand because it's a little bit slower pace. One steps are nice because you can teach a lot of different elements. I can teach sparring elements. I can teach self-defense elements. I use my one steps to introduce more kung fu. We have some one steps that are Wing Chun. We have some one steps that are more Filipino based with destructions of elbow strikes. I can mix a lot of these different elements in there that aren't strictly Taekwondo. And this is where you can play with your curriculum a bit and start introducing elements from different arts in there. And it's very controlled and it's very safe for everybody to learn, but they learn these different concepts. And then later you can do sparring drills or fighting drills to make it more realistic. This is an element of training that really helps to keep the quality and the focus on a nice high level, which if you're serious about the martial arts and you want to, teach and practice movements that are more precise, practicing in a slower, more controlled method makes more sense versus practicing them in a full speed sparring drill situation where, let's face it, when we're not focused on precision when we're focused on sparring drills. We're focused on speed, we're focused on movement. It's a different way of training. It has a different purpose. So it's not a self-defense against a punch drill. It's more formal. Think of it like it's a miniature form. It's a small pattern where I'm learning a specific skill set. I hope this helps you guys. I hope you guys understand why I think One Steps has a certain value, and I will always have them in my curriculum because I want my students to have that quality and that discipline that comes with it. That's my thoughts on it, so God bless and keep on kicking.